All right. Well, good morning. Welcome to the official press conference of the Kansas City Chiefs Training Camp of 2022. I'm Pat Dillon with Mosaic Life Care, and on behalf of the community of St. Joseph, we welcome the Kansas City Chiefs back to St. Joe and our community. Very exciting time for us. For the 12th year, we are honored to be the presenting partner and sponsor of the official healthcare provider at Kansas City Chiefs Training Camp. Mosaic Life Care has been the official sponsor, and we're very proud of that opportunity. We're also thankful for our partnership with Dr. Elizabeth Kennedy and Missouri Western State University. I'd also like to take a moment to thank the City of St. Joe, our Mayor John Josendale. I think I saw the mayor here somewhere. We appreciate the support of the city, the Buchanan County Commissioners, the St. Joe Convention and Visitors Bureau, and the St. Joseph Chamber of Commerce for their efforts in ensuring an excellent camp for visitors and St. Joseph over the next few weeks. Now please help me welcome Dr. Elizabeth Kennedy, the President of Missouri Western State University. Dr. Kennedy?
Well, thank you, Pat, and good morning, and welcome to Missouri Western State University. It has been our distinct honor and privilege to host the summer training camp of the Kansas City Chiefs, as Pat said, for the last 12 years. Now, as we all know, Chiefs Kingdom has a devoted fan base that extends beyond Missouri and throughout the United States and internationally. There are literally Chiefs fans across the globe. But for just a few weeks through the end of July through mid-August, the spotlight of Chiefs Kingdom shines on Missouri Western and the city of St. Joseph. And here at Missouri Western, we are energized by the excitement and enthusiasm that tens of thousands of Chiefs fans bring to our campus every year. But we're also grateful for the opportunity that the training camp provides to the students from our university and from universities across the country. Students who get hands-on experience working with a world-class organization like the Chiefs through our internship program. And most importantly, we're also thrilled to have the opportunity to showcase our great university and the beautiful community of St. Joseph in the national and international arenas. Now, for the first time since the Super Bowl win, training camp will return to the experience that fans have known and loved. The rush of getting that best seat in the stands, watching players work out close and refining their skills, and my favorite of all, seeing the kids line the fence after practices, waiting for that special autograph. What memories are we waiting to be made here today? I just can't wait. Finally, let me offer just a little bit of gratitude first for the many, many Missouri Western State University employees who work so very hard, BC, DC, and AC, before camp, during camp, and after camp, making sure that our guests are well accommodated and that the training camp goes off without a hitch. Please know your efforts are well appreciated. But none of this would be possible on our own. Missouri Western State University has a number of partners in the community who time and time again have stepped up to help us make training camp happen. And it is now my pleasure to introduce one of those key partners. Mosaic Life Care has been a critical component of the training camp experience, and the relationship between Missouri Western and Mosaic is strong and flourishing. And now, with new leadership in place, I am incredibly pleased to be working with Mike Poore, who was introduced as Mosaic's new Chief Executive Officer in June of this year after serving 3 months as interim CEO. Now, Mike came to St. Joseph with more than 30 years of experience in healthcare, 20 of which are at the CEO level. And he and his wife Penny have been welcome and wonderful additions to our St. Joseph community. So with that as introduction, it is my pleasure to ask Mike Poore to come to the podium.
Thank you, Dr. Kennedy. I'm real excited about being here. This is my first Chiefs camp here in Missouri, and I'm excited to be the representative for Mosaic Life Care. This is really a team effort, and with Missouri Western, St. Joseph, everyone that's involved to be here to host the Chiefs for camp, we are over the moon and very excited to be a part of this. You know, this is a great example of teamwork, and teamwork is in everything we do. So working with Missouri Western, working with the Kansas City Chiefs, but also the teamwork that happens in our community and in our hospital every day. We have teams that are working in the OR or are working with cancer patients, and so we believe that this is a great partnership with the Kansas City Chiefs. One of the things that we're really thankful for is our partnership with Kansas City Chiefs linebacker Elijah Lee. Elijah is a local player here and is a big part of the community. And when he came here, he wanted to work with the Bartlett Center, which is an amazing center for kids that are facing a lot of challenges. And it's a great, safe place in the community for these children. And I've gotten to know the Bartlett Center better, and Elijah is the one that introduced us. So it shows again how that teamwork comes together. We're honored to provide world-class health care for the team and all of the spectators that will be here during camp. We will have some hot days, and our team will be ready to take care of everyone. Again, I am really humbled to be the one standing here in front of you representing our nurses, our doctors, our caregivers, over 4,600 caregivers in the community here that take care of our patients on a daily basis. One of the things I've gotten to ask in my short time here is, why do we sponsor the Chiefs camp? And, to me, it's readily apparent. Who wouldn't want to have this kind of fun? This is going to be a fun year. We're coming out of COVID, so we can enjoy ourselves better at Chiefs camp. Also, it's an ability to showcase what Mosaic has to offer for the community and for the players as we go through camp. We're proud to partner with Kansas City Chiefs and officially open the start of Chiefs camp. Welcome back to St. Joseph, and I look forward to this first training camp for me. Now I welcome Mark Donovan, President of the Kansas City Chiefs, to the podium. Mark?
Thank you very much. I want to start with a shout out to Luke Shano for putting this book together. Has a lot. I'm going to do my best. It's actually very helpful because I do want to go over a lot of details, exciting details about camp, getting back to normal, and also adding some things to make it even more exciting for our fans. But let me first reiterate and start with some thank yous to Dr. Kennedy, new athletic director Andy Carter. It's exciting to be back, and it's exciting to work with your team. Missouri Western has been an amazing partner with us from the get-go. And every year we face challenges together and we figure out solutions together. And every year we overcome those challenges. And as I've said before in this room, and Pat, you'll remember sometimes outside the dorms, every single rep counts. Every single minute of camp is really, really important. So to have a team like Missouri Western on our side has been extremely, extremely valuable, and we love the partnership we've had here. I want to thank the entire city. It's great to meet the new mayor, John Josendale. It's great to meet Mike and his wife, Penny. And I would tell you that as kind of an outsider, it was strange. Like I was welcoming them. Like this, welcome. We're excited to have you on our team in your hometown and at your university. But we feel like we've been here since Mosaic was Heartland Health, since just about everybody on this podium was somewhere else. And I would tell you this, just early observations from the mayor to Dr. Kennedy, working for a year or two now, and to meeting Mike. I mean, there's an excitement and energy about this town. And while it's exciting for us to be here for a couple weeks, it's really important for us as an organization to give back and to be a part of St. Joe. I've mentioned to this group before that every time I'm here, when I go around town and I'm wearing something like this, people stop me. They want to say thank you, excited to have you here, and is there anything you need, and can we show you this place? This makes St. Joe special. So we're really excited to be back. We're really excited to be part of this. I'm excited to get going for camp. Let me just say this about Mosaic. When we started out, it was a really important partnership to have on-site medical care for our players, for our coaches, but also for our fans. And they have delivered again and again and again. And without sharing all the details, because I'll probably violate a bunch of HIPAA laws, there have been, seems like every single year, there's been a situation with either our staff or a player or a fan which really needed urgent care to make sure that we had a positive solution every single time they come through for us. So it's extremely valuable, and we're very, very appreciative of Mosaic and appreciate their partnership. So let's get to some of the facts about things you need to know about camp this year. Number one, we keep saying back to normal. The reality is it's going to be more exciting than it's ever been. We've created more opportunities. Our team, Jeremy Slavens, and the entire team that puts this camp on for us, for our fans, has done a great job of making it bigger, better, and a little bit more efficient. So first and foremost, like last year, all tickets need to be reserved on our Kingdom Rewards platform. It's free. Just go to chiefskingdomrewards.com. You can sign up for an account for free, and that's where you get your tickets. Tickets are free with the exception, I think, 3 days, where there'll be a $5 ticket. Parking is $5 each day. As you can imagine, demand and interest is through the roof. So we've made a strategic decision on that. We are going to cap attendance every day. And the reason for that is to make sure that every fan who is in attendance has a really good experience. If you work in the Hunt family organization for less than a week, you quickly learn that the most important thing to us as an organization is our fans. And that starts with Wednesday, which will be our first practice, but that practice is exclusively for our season ticket members. It's an exclusive benefit for our most important partners and members. Camp will then ramp up from there. As was said before, the veterans arrived today, so it'll be a good day to see what kind of outfits show up, which is a typical tradition here. And then a couple other key points from an information standpoint. On our website, chiefs.com/training camp, you can get all the information you need about training camp every single day. I would also urge fans to download our mobile app. Again, free. The app will give you instant updates. So as you see, weather changes a lot up here. Unfortunately, some days we lose outdoor practices because of lightning and rain. We have to go indoors. Those are closed. So just if you have the app on your phone, you'll get instant push updates to there. Also for the fans, an important point, we do have the clear bag policy here, as we do at the stadium. We employ the same NFL rules here for this, keeps everybody safe. So the clear bag policy, which you can find if you go to NFL.com, clear bag policy, you'll find it there. I'm going to come back up and answer questions, but before we do that, I want to thank the entire team, again, both our team and the teams we work with for giving us the opportunity to be here in St. Joe and give us the opportunity to take advantage of every single one of those reps. And for the first time in Mike's career, we're going to bring him up and we're going to present him with a Chiefs jersey. So Mike, if you could join me. Where do you guys want us? There you go. Does that work? That good?
Dr. King, yes. Yeah, and then we'll do one more with Dr. Kennedy as well.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Let's start.
guys want to stay here and answer the questions? Or?
Yeah, we can.
I was joking. You don't have to deal with the next one. I got it.
I think first we'll open it up for questions for anybody up front, and then we'll specifically do marks. If anybody has any questions for anybody at the dais, we can do that now. Good? Okay. Mark? Adam?
Hi, Adam.
Hey, hi, Mark. How you doing?
Good. How was your summer?
Good. Excellent. With the World Cup coming to Kansas City in 26, can you take us through what that means for Arrowhead, say in the short term between now and 26 and then beyond 26?
Yeah, first and foremost, the World Cup puts Kansas City on a map it's never been on before. When you think about the importance of that event and the fact that the team that we were a part of got that event should be noted and acknowledged. It is an international event that it's going to be amazing when people see it, and it's going to be really exciting to be part of it. As it relates to the stadium, there are definitely some required changes we need to make the pitch fit within the framework of the stadium, which will involve some construction. It's actually a 2-year construction process. So we've mapped out a plan where we can actually do some of the work, put seats back in, take the seats back out, play the games, at the end of the games, put seats back in. And our goal at this point is to make sure that every single seat is replaced for every single season, so not losing a single seat. For football. And we are in discussions with FIFA. Matt Kenny and our team were in New York a couple weeks ago, meeting with FIFA to talk about exactly where we are and exactly what the plan is going forward. FIFA's actually pushing us a little bit aggressively to try to reduce the number of seats we take out, which creates a little bit of a better opportunity for us. It will be an enormous challenge for our operations and construction crew, but one that we'll be up for.
When does that start?
25.
Okay.
So we'll do the summer 25 going into the 25 season, then 26, and then after the 26 season take it out.
And then what about when the World Cup's gone? What does that mean for Arrowhead longer term?
Yeah, it's a fair question, and I'm sure it'll come up in some other questions. It's part of the process of evaluation. I would tell you that it's its own separate discussion. We've got to think of the stadium as its own entity, and we've got to do whatever we do right. And I think that's the recurring theme here is we got a big decision to make in a number of years, and we're going to make sure we're doing all the due diligence, got all the information, and we got to do it right. World Cup won't impact that. There are scenarios where we may do something different for World Cup, and then say, well, wait a second. In a renovated Arrowhead, would you maybe keep that or change this or take advantage of the construction you've already done? That's in the mix, but I would tell you that in general, 2 separate discussions.
Nate?
Mark, you mentioned training camp and the attendance being capped. I guess I have a 2-part question. What is the cap number of the amount of fans that can be at a practice each day? And is there an example that you have from previous years where it led to the decision being made that attendance needed to be capped at some point of capacity?
Yeah, I'll look to Jeremy to help me out with the number here in a second, but I would answer the second part of that question to say that I experienced some of that. We've had events here, especially the first few years. The year we got Andy, the year after Patrick started, when we had a couple of days here that were fans drive all the way up here or all the way down here, and they just don't have a great fan experience because they can't see, they can't get anywhere near the autographs, and it's a balancing act as a business operator to make sure that you get the maximum benefit and the maximum number of people in to have a great experience. But that one bad experience is really powerful. We talk a lot as an organization about creating storytellers. We want the people, if you walk into a Chiefs fan who's been to a training camp at a grocery store, wherever you are, and ask them about training camp, we want them to tell a great story. And if that story is, I drove all the way up there and I got here an hour later and I didn't even get to see or get anywhere near an autograph, that's something we try to avoid. And we think with the number of days we have, we can do it pretty effectively. Number? Do we have a number? I mean, I think I would tell you that we've had years when it's been, close to 20,000, between 15 and 20,000 people, and that's a bad experience. I think I won't give you an actual number because I don't have it, but I would tell you that there are going to be plenty of people here. The other part of that balancing act is make sure there are enough people there to create that energy that our players thrive on during camp. As you all know who've been here at camp, and as many of us know, been here a lot of days during camp, there are some dog days. And I've witnessed and I've heard it from the players. Like, it gets them through. It helps them go that extra rep, and it definitely makes a big difference.
Blair?
Hey, Mark, a couple quick things. You know how many seats are going to need to be replaced temporarily at Arrowhead?
A couple thousand. I don't have an actual number on the top of my head, but it's depending on what FIFA comes back with. It's 5 or 8 rows. A couple corners we got to do some work on. So it doesn't seem like a big project. I would tell you when you get into the architecture of the building and the age of the building, it's an enormous project. Yeah.
Also, by the time we do this again next year, we'll have a draft.
Yeah.
NFL draft. And I know there's a lot going on in the city to play for that, but how about from a team standpoint?
Yeah.
What needs to happen team-wise?
Yeah, the NFL was in town last week. Our team met with them as well as with Kathy Nelson, members of the city's group that we're working with on that. I always make the point, as I said earlier, the World Cup's going to be enormous, right? The draft in 23 will be the largest event Kansas City's ever hosted. I mean, that just gives you a little hint into the trend we're on as a city, and we're just excited to be part of it. You know, I humbly say, without the Chiefs, the draft doesn't come to Kansas City, and without Arrowhead and GHA Field, World Cup doesn't come to Kansas City. So we're part of it, and we're a big part of it, but we've got great partners in both. Kathy Nelson and her team on the draft is going to be critical to that. It will take a lot of time from our team just to help with the planning. There are a lot of things that go into play, and as you know, as an organization, our goal is to make it the best draft in the history of drafts and to shine the light on Kansas City. And yes, there are benefits to the Chiefs in that. They're mostly building our brand, they're building awareness of how special this town is and how iconic our building is, and hopefully driving more fans here. But it is a citywide event, it's an NFL event, it's not a Chiefs event, but we're going to give it a lot of Chiefs flavor.
Todd?
A couple of questions about the World Cup, too. It's safe to say the World Cup is going to be the biggest event in the stadium's history?
Yes.
Yeah. What do you think, can you just take me through the bid process? Because this started way back, 8, 9 years ago with Mayor Sly Jane and stuff like that. Just the emotional roller coaster and then hearing that you guys got it. What do you think ultimately tipped the scales and got FIFA to, see the light as far as Kansas City?
Yeah, so let me first kind of correct my first answer to that. So it probably won't be the largest attendance in terms of one event because of the seats we're taking out. But over the 4 matches, for one event, it'll definitely be the largest. And then a roller coaster and the tipping point. It's a long process. And FIFA is a great partner, but they are a challenging partner. They challenge us. They challenge every single bid city. And there were some days where you're just, how are we going to make this work? And that's when sort of the resolve of the teams, Kathy, the city, the county, us, the Royals, Sporting, huge opportunity or huge partner in that, in driving that. It's just that resolve was really the key that kept us going. I would say personally the tipping point for me was there's a moment where FIFA's team went around to all, I'm going to say 18 cities that were bidding, and they had a presentation. It's your opportunity, right? It's your opportunity to shine. And the feedback that we got on that presentation, which was led by Kathy and her team, which we were all a part of, we had great participation from the state of Kansas, from the state of Missouri, elected officials, as well as just business support. So the feedback we got were 2 key points. Going into the meeting, we were on the bubble or just outside and probably not getting it. Coming out of the meeting, we were firmly in and most likely going to get it. So it was a great day for us as a city to come together and just show how special we are and how prepared we are for this. We like to think as the Chiefs in operating Arrowhead Stadium that we're one of the best in the world, and we take a lot of pride in that fan experience. That showed true. But sporting success, the fact that this city with the Royals hosted all-star games, the fact that we had World Series, the fact that we've had AFC Championship games again and again and again. All those things matter. Kathy's experience in having the Big 12 championships. All those things matter, and it was the opportunity to sort of shine a light on all that. And I will tell you that the FIFA people walked away very impressed, and I think that was really the tipping point that got us in the mix.
And, real quick, I know there's the infrastructure challenges. What other challenges do you see ahead that you can kind of project now? Because I know there's a lot that will come up that you can't project between now and 2026, but can you speak to any other challenges that you know are coming in the next few years?
Yeah, so big challenges as it relates to, and I'll say challenges that are going to be overcome, but we definitely things we got to pay attention to and put some effort behind. There's some fundraising we need to do. There's also some transportation issues that we've got to convince people that we can do this. We can, but we need to show them how we're going to do that. A big part of that is scheduling. John Sherman and Brooks at the Royals have been great partners of ours, and when you really think about it from that perspective, to make this event happen, we are disrupting their season. And they're a baseball franchise, not a soccer organization. But they're a Kansas City partner. And John has been, from the get-go, as John always is, it's like, we're in. What do you need? We'll figure it out. It's going to be a challenge, scheduling, because they're here so long, and FIFA, as I said, they sort of set their own schedule, and they're not really worried about who's in the way. We'll work it out, but if we didn't have partners like that, we probably would have a lot of challenges there.
Pete?
Mark, this question is certainly less important, but something that we see from fans a lot. When it comes to aesthetics and the idea of potentially an alternate helmet that we're seeing the league now allow, how open, given the leaning into the tradition and stuff, do you see maybe the Chiefs being open to alternate helmets or uniforms and stuff like that?
Yeah, honor tradition is one of our core fundamental values, right? But I go back to that balance point. If you look at more and more, and especially this season, it just seems like with all the black helmets that are coming out and the alternative uniforms that are out there, I don't want to create hope where there isn't hope, but I will say this: you've lived it with us a little bit. There's an open discussion. There's definitely more of a consideration than there's ever been. We've definitely we've had some good conversations about the opportunity. But as you can imagine, I think we are the only team, we might be one of a small group that has never changed. When I say never changed, we've changed a little bit on the stripe or something like that, but because of the uniform change. But that's important to us too. So it's finding that balance again. I've been here 14 seasons now. First couple of years I came to Philadelphia where we did that pretty successfully, and I was really excited about that. After the first meeting talking about that, I didn't bring it up again for a couple of years. But a couple of our teammates on our sides kept pushing me, and we've opened the discussion again, and we'll see. It's definitely something we'll continue to discuss.
All right, we'll do a couple more. We'll go Matt, go down the line. I got you. Adam, go ahead.
Hey, Mark, the organization had an event last week in Washington with Bayern Munich, excuse me. I think I'm almost pronouncing it correctly.
That's close.
Their brand is just as big, if not bigger, in Germany and Europe than even the Chiefs brand is. How important has been that partnership as far as trying to build an audience and reach an audience in Germany and Europe?
Yeah, it's a little bit of the everything's connected story, right? So Bayern Munich is a partner with FC Dallas, which is owned by the Hunt family. Bayern Munich is one of the most valuable brands in sport, and they're dominant in Germany. So the relation is, number one, World Cup. Our ability to talk about our partnership with them helps. But number two, as we expand and have the opportunity to pursue Germany as a market, it's been extremely valuable. And as you can imagine, we're walking into business meetings in Germany, people we've never met. We don't really know much about their business, so we're walking with Bayern with us. And that's extremely valuable, just creating the intros and creating the opportunities and being there and supporting us. We've worked with them through FC Dallas for a number of years. We spent a number of years watching and learning what Bayern did as they entered the U.S. market and try to learn the fundamentals, the things that were different for them, things that we could help them with, but also how they did it. And then we're trying to use some of those same techniques as we go into Germany. And then the final point I would make on Bayern is it's not just about Byron. It's about those opportunities to be introduced to people through them. We put together an advisory group of 8 or 9 CEO-level business leaders in Germany. And they were excited to be a part of this. They were excited to be on board with us as we expand into Germany. And I would tell you that the opportunity there and in Mexico, and frankly, to continue to globalize this sport and globalize our brand within that sport is really exciting. And it's something we're pursuing very aggressively, and they're a big part of that.
We'll go finish up with Nate, Adam, and Matt.
Mark, it's usually a question we ask every year here, but just with the amount of time that you guys have been here in St. Joe, just what do you project for the future of training camp? And obviously you guys are one of the few exceptions to not having training camp in your own facility.
Yeah, I don't know the exact number. I think it's 5?
It's 7.
7? So 7 teams out of 32 that are traveling. So I'll go back and be consistent with my earlier comments. Missouri Western and St. Joe have been great to us. And they've made sure that they understand. And that understanding that every rep matters, that's an easy way of saying, like, everything has to be right. Like, we can't afford to miss. That's really important. We love our partnership, we love our relationships, and we fully intend to continue to have those relationships. We have some options in our contract to continue. So as we always do, we'll get through this year, we'll sit down, we'll have some conversations. Our early discussions with the athletic director, Andy Carter, have been very positive. It'll be great to see, after he gets through his first full camp, sort of his feedback and things that he thinks we can do better or differently. But it's been a great opportunity. It's been great to be here. Our head coach loves getting away. Our players like it. You know, we had those. COVID actually gave us the opportunity to look at different ways of doing this, and I don't want to oversell that they like it because it's training camp. They wouldn't. I think there's an aspect they don't like anywhere. But I think that camaraderie building and that time away is really valuable, and we see it that way.
Yeah, I guess upon that, when you guys went back to the 2020 training camp that was obviously adjusted and had to be for COVID, was there a further understanding from an organizational standpoint, gaining more value out of doing it traditionally that maybe you wouldn't have had not having to go through that experience?
Yeah, so I'll give you my opinion on that, and then I would defer to Brett and Andy and the players. But my opinion is that we learned a lot that impacted how we handled OTAs going forward. All right, so we were able to implement different changes in those years that we kept through OTAs. I think training camp will come out of this year. This will be the first real normal one, and we'll do the same thing and see are there things that we could do differently. But I think for this period of time, what Andy has told me, this is really valuable, and we like doing it this way.
Adam and then Matt.
As you know, the schedule goes back next year, 23, to 9 home games for the
Yeah.
Chiefs. You anticipate one of those games being played internationally next year?
Yeah, I hope so. That's our goal. I know our season ticket members would like to have all of our games be at home. But the reality is that that's one of the reasons we switched to the 17-3. Every team in the league will play internationally now. And we said that when we sat outside on a cold day and talked about the fact that they just announced on us that we were going to London. Every team eventually is going to go international. Every team is going to give up a home game. And that's part of the reason for 9 versus 8. Ideally we go and don't give it, but I don't think that's the way the model's designed. That would be a pretty significant anomaly if we were able to do that. But I would tell you this, that there's nothing better than playing at home, but the opportunity to play regular season games internationally is going to benefit every aspect of this organization and our fans. And yeah, there's some long lines there, you got to connect the dots, but trust me in that it will benefit all of us.
Would you have a preference next year's game, Mexico or Germany?
Yeah, our preference right now is Germany. If you look at where we are in Germany and the investments that we're making in Germany, number one, it's a much richer opportunity for us. To give you some perspective, 4 teams that have the rights in Germany, us, Bucks, Panthers, and Patriots, thank you. So all big brands, all aggressive teams. We went from middle of the pack to the fastest amongst those teams in social growth over the last 2 months. So we actually put a concerted effort in. Now we've seen the benefits of that concerted effort, and we think the opportunity is enormous. So in a scenario where we don't play there in the next few years, because you think about that timing you brought up, like if you don't play next year, then you're probably not playing the next year, so then you're another year out. We want to get there sooner rather than later, just to activate those fans and get more fans interested.
When you say it's maybe a richer experience for you in Germany than in Mexico, what do you mean, financially or other?
No, I mean more that we have the opportunity to grow faster there than in Mexico. So if you think about us in Germany, we're probably the 5th largest brand in Germany from an NFL perspective. In Mexico, we're probably 12th, 14th. So much crowded space. The other reason for that, getting into details here that probably a little bit too far down the line, but there are 4 teams that have the right to Germany. There are 9 that have the rights to Mexico. So when you think about it strategically, where are you going to spend your resources? We're going to go aggressively in Germany, and we're going to, we've talked about this from the marketing standpoint. In Mexico, we're going to watch what other people do. We're probably going to zig when they zag. We're probably going to do things a little differently, a little bit more aggressively, a little bit more maybe less traditional in Mexico, and try to create a little awareness there. And then the opportunity may come up, and we'll see if we can take advantage of it.
I'm sorry, one more thing. I just want to make sure I understood. You said you're 1 of 4 in
Germany.
and 1 of 12.
1 of 9.
1 of 9 in Mexico.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Matt?
Our autographs are obviously a huge part of camp. This wasn't possible in the last 2 years, but how excited are you to bring that back to the fans and their experience this time?
So this is a good example of Matt sitting there and saying, "What did Mark miss in this big book?" So thank you for bringing that up. You're the best. Training camp, you know, I will share the story. I grew up in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. My dad took me to my first Steelers game against the Patriots. Sat upper deck, and it was freezing cold. The only hat I had was a red, white, and blue hat. It was a bad mistake to go into Three River Stadium with a red, white, and blue hat when you're playing the Patriots. But after the game, I went outside the locker room, and we sat outside in the cold for forever. And Lynn Swan shook my hand. Never forget it to this day. Like, literally, goosebumps, right? Those kids at training camp get the opportunity to carry a helmet up the walk with a player. Those kids at training camp get the opportunity to get an autograph. We didn't have that for 2 years, 3. So the opportunity to get that back is something that, the best thing about, well, one of the best things about this organization is, in some organizations you go to a head coach or a GM and you say, "Hey, we're thinking about bringing this back." And they're like, "Well, it was pretty good before. Why don't we just keep this the way it is?" But these two, it's like, done. We got to do that. That's part of it, right? So we've got great support from our players, great support from our coach and our GM, and we're just excited to bring that back. So that's one of the things I should have mentioned as part of the new things we're doing at camp. I would also just express to our season ticket members, come up to camp and take your time, see it all. There are some really new, cool things we're doing. Hy-Vee is doing concessions. We're excited to bring our partnership there. We've got our tailgate suites here. We've expanded our merchandise store. We're going to do so much around flag football this year. So if you're up here at camp, you're probably going to see some kids running around, girls and boys, playing flag to continue to grow the sport. And that's what gets us excited as an organization to get back to camp.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.